I decided to investigate it and explore it, and it led to The Sign and the Seal, which was published in 1992, and that's what set me on the path to Fingerprints of the Gods and everything that followed that.
Graham Hancock just made a statement that's shaking the foundations of history. The author and researcher, known for his controversial book, Fingerprints of the Gods, revealed something that has biblical scholars scrambling for answers. Hidden within the Ethiopian Bible is a creation story that was deliberately removed from the version you read today. These aren't minor details or alternative phrasings. These are entire narratives, prophecies, and warnings about humanity's origins, involving ancient beings. Stories so powerful they were locked away for nearly 2,000 years. What could be so terrifying that the church kept it secret for centuries? Why does Ethiopia, a land that was never colonized, hold the only complete record of humanity's true beginnings? Hancock's revelation has opened a door that many thought would stay closed forever. If you want to know the truth they've been hiding from you, smash that like button and subscribe right now. This is information they don't want you to see. The Ethiopian Bible's revelation of the missing creation story. For almost 2,000 years, people have been told the same story. God created the heavens and the earth in 6 days, formed Adam from dust, and set humanity in motion. But in Ethiopia, very old Christian books tell a deeper version of that story, one that most people in the West never heard. The Ethiopian Orthodox Church has one of the oldest and biggest Bibles in the world. Some of these books were never accepted by the Roman Church. They include writings that talk about what really happened at the dawn of creation, showing that the origins of humanity did not begin with a simple garden, but with ancient interventions. These old writings were kept safe for centuries by Ethiopian monks who carefully copied them by hand. They believed the stories of creation must never be lost. In these books, creation did not end with the seventh day of rest. It involved hidden truths, gave warnings, and helped prepare humanity for what was to come. One of the most important of these books is called the Book of Enoch. It claims to record the visions of Enoch, who walked with God, revealing events before the flood, but tied to the very start of human existence. In this book, creation speaks not just of a divine maker, but of watchers from the heavens who descended to earth. They taught early humans forbidden knowledge, not through violence or domination, but through sharing secrets of the stars and the earth. It teaches that what happens inside a person's soul is more important than the physical world or rituals. It also warns that over time, people will twist these origins and use myths wrongly. It says there will come a day when people chant ancient tales in gatherings, but their understanding will be far away from the truth. They will build grand monuments of stone and metal, but forget the origins of the spirit. These warnings sound like they could fit the world today. The book predicts cataclysms, truths turned to lies, and societies collapsing. It says, darkness will come when people no longer remember their celestial roots. One powerful line says, blessed are those who seek the hidden knowledge, not in noise, but in stillness. It shows ancient beings who guide those who question quietly, the forgotten and unseen ones who still hold the spark of true origins in their hearts. Another book from Ethiopia called the Book of Jubilees gives practical advice about how to live aware of these origins. It says people should live humbly, reflect deeply, seek wisdom often, and stay away from false histories and greedy deceivers. It warns against false scholars who appear wise on the outside but distort the past in secret. It says, do not be like the chroniclers of the future, who dow white coats but devour the truths of the ancients. If the secrets of the past could still change how we see origins and truth, then what hidden stories lie within the world's oldest and most mysterious holy book, the Ethiopian Bible? Let's learn more. The Forgotten Fire in the True Origins of Humanity. The same texts also include a prophecy about the future of knowledge. The writings say that in the last days the true story will rise again from unexpected places, from highlands, valleys, and even from the descendants of forgotten tribes. It says the spirit of wisdom will speak through those who are ignored by the powerful. This idea turns the normal image of history upside down. It means that truth may come not from those in academies, but from the humble and overlooked. Ethiopia's long Christian history helps explain why these texts survived. The country has been Christian since the 4th century, but was cut off from Rome for hundreds of years. Because of that, it kept a more spiritual and mystical kind of faith. In these Ethiopian writings, the creation story talks about celestial beings, fallen watchers, and the soul's blueprint. It tells people to seek with their whole being, not just with intellect. Let your mind become a vessel of inquiry. It says, let your questions echo louder than doctrines. The Ethiopians also say, there are 3 main reasons why the Western Church rejected these writings. The first is political control. Rome wanted one clear, simple narrative that could be easily managed. The second is mysticism. The Ethiopian books are full of visions, heavenly visitors, and cosmic battles, which Western leaders found too strange. The third reason is fear. They feared that if people heard these stories, they would question authority directly instead of relying on the church for interpretation. Some of the Ethiopian texts also say that Enoch was taken to the heavens for extended revelations. During that time, he revealed what they called the divine tablets. He taught that guardians watch over every era, tempers influence human thoughts, and every action builds either a bridge to enlightenment or a chain to ignorance. He also warned that these origins would be altered, the past rewritten, and knowledge commodified. When we look at how often ancient history is used today for agendas or profit, those words feel especially true. But even with those warnings, the Ethiopian texts end with hope. They say the writings declare, the truth can never be erased. It said, I am the root and the revelation. It will resurface. These writings show a very different picture of creation, one that is vaster, deeper, and more interconnected than what most Western scholars know. This origin story does not belong to textbooks or institutions. It belongs to the minds that truly explore it. While much of the world may have forgotten these primal narratives, Ethiopia remembered. And maybe that is where the true origins of humanity had been waiting all along, in the quiet places where wisdom never faded. If Ethiopia truly preserved the forgotten stories of creation, then what deeper lessons do these sacred texts reveal about life, death, and the final weakening of humanity? Let's delve deeper. Hidden teachings, life, death, and the awakening of the true spirit. The old Ethiopian Bible holds teachings that many people have never heard. It tells a deeper story about life, death, creation, and what it truly means to awaken the spirit inside. These writings say that in ancient times, celestial beings shared secret lessons that were never recorded in the common Genesis accounts. For hundreds of years, Ethiopian monks protected these texts, believing they carried the real blueprint of existence. In these old books, the creation narrative teaches that death is not the end of existence. It says, the form is like a vessel that cracks, but the essence endures. When the form shatters, the essence returns to its true source, which is the fire and light of the cosmos. Early humans were awed when they heard this, but the teachings told them not to fear death. What they should fear, it said, is existing without awareness. It called this the oblivion that persists while the pulse still throbs. That meant a person could be vital on the outside, but void on the inside. Many people, it said, lose their link to the cosmic spark within them and fill the void with distractions, wealth, and ego. They forget that the divine essence resides inside their own beings. Every idea and emotion, the text explained, has cosmic force. It can either elevate the essence to radiance or pull it into shadow. True understanding, according to these writings, is not about adhering to laws, but about igniting the spirit that already dwells in you. Another part of the Ethiopian Bible speaks about two forces in creation and illusory realm. It says that not everything arose from the same pure origin. There was one source of true radiance, the architect of all, but there was also another entity, a shaper of illusions. This entity, swollen with arrogance, forged a realm that appeared splendid but lacked true essence. It sought to dominate it and proclaimed itself the sole creator. But it was oblivious to the greater radiance beyond. Because of that arrogance, the world became blended with splendor and suffering, reality and deception. The teachings say enlightened ones came into this illusory realm, not just to redeem from flaws, but to aid in awakening from this deceptive vision. They told seekers that the true radiance of the source still resides in all things, even in obscurity. The purpose of every essence is to discover that concealed ember and restore it to eternal radiance. Before the Great Flood, the texts call it the ultimate foretelling. It said an era would arrive when insight would fade and knowledge would turn to mere ritual. People would recite origins with their voices, but not with their souls. But in that same era, it promised that the awakening force would emerge anew, not in vast academies or through dominant figures, but within the serene and the shattered. My essence, it said, will stir where dogma cannot penetrate. The arrogant will not perceive it, but the humbled will. They will recognize it not through texts, but through illumination. This illumination, the writings explain, is not one that scorches the earth, but one that incinerates falsehood and ego. It is the illumination of realization. It purifies the essence and unveils the vision. The teaching said this illumination would return before the culmination, to rouse people again to reality. Many believe that this foretelling addresses our time, where the world is rife with avarice, ego, and disarray, yet also yearning for something authentic. For today's world, the message of the Ethiopian Bible is clear. It says, "We have erected false idols out of currency, notoriety, and dominance. We study in halls of marble, but neglect the living archive within our souls. Yet even now there are people silent and unobserved who still bear the true spark of origins. They do not don ornate garb or crave acclaim. They exist tranquilly, directed by curiosity and verity. Their reflections," it says, "prevent the world from plunging wholly into shadow." The core of all these teachings is straightforward. The realm of truth is not distant. It is within every individual. The essence itself is the genuine sanctuary of the cosmos. Every gesture of inquiry, every instance of revelation, and every pursuit of wisdom will ignite that true spark inside. When people exist with awareness, they merge with the cosmic blaze. The Ethiopian Bible displays a form of insight that is not constructed on dread or dominance, but on individual pursuit. It informs us that even in a world replete with deceptions and avarice, the radiance of origins never extinguishes. The monks who safeguarded these narratives believed they were not merely protecting antique scrolls, they were preserving the vibrant truth of creation. If Ethiopia kept to hidden narratives of origins, could it also hold a story of where humanity thrived in harmony instead of falling into sin? Let's find out. The Lost Gospel of Origins, Ethiopia's hidden story of the thriving ancients. Humanity was born in innocence, tempted in a garden, and cast out for sin in order to learn through hardship. According to traditions worldwide, this tale has been passed down through the generations and is found in teachings, scriptures, and lore. However, another account that paints a completely different image of what transpired has been preserved far away in Ethiopia. Some very old manuscripts discovered there claim that humanity did not fall through disobedience. Instead, ancient beings nurtured early societies in harmony, teaching them to coexist peacefully with cosmic forces and the earth. This narrative, known as the Ethiopian Gospel of Origins, presents creation in a novel way. It is portrayed in this gospel as a collaborative emergence rather than a divine decree. It talks about wisdom, balance, and cycles instead of fault or punishment. According to these texts, learning to live in alignment, aware, and connected is the path to true evolution rather than exile or toil. One of the oldest Christian churches in the world, the Ethiopian Orthodox Church. Its spiritual origins can be traced back to Menelik I, the son of King Solomon and Queen of Sheba. Ethiopia's faith developed subtly via contemplation, vigilance, and profound mystical practices, whereas the Roman and European churches were molded by politics and force. Inside old monasteries in places like Lalibela and Aksum, monks kept hidden scrolls as sacred books written in Ge'ez, an ancient Ethiopian language. These writings tell of origins where watchers from the stars guided humanity, teaching them to harmonize body and spirit through reflection, alignment, and immersion in nature. They called the earth the cradle and the heavens the guide, teaching that all of existence was sacred and interwoven with the divine. In this version of events, when discord arose in early times, humanity did not succumb to temptation. Instead, they retreated into wisdom, following the path of earlier enlightened ones. People later misunderstood this transition, and over time, the story of sin and expulsion spread. According to Ethiopian theologians, this change did not happen by accident. They believed it was shaped by the Roman Empire, which wanted to control how people saw their past. When the Council of Nicaea met in 325 AD, church leaders under Roman rule chose which books would be part of the Bible. Ethiopian scholars say this council favored a version of Origins that focused on fall and redemption. A sinful beginning, they argue, made it easier to control the people than an empowered narrative that taught inherent harmony. So while Rome preached of guilt and sacrifice, Ethiopia kept its message of balance and awakening alive. The Ethiopian Bible called creation the Great Weaving, not the fall of man. They believed it wanted people to align their thoughts and actions, exist in equilibrium, and steward others and the planet. Today's historians question this story because there is little Roman proof to support it. But Ethiopian scholars remind us that their land embraced these truths long before Rome did, and their language and traditions are some of the oldest in the world. Archaeologists have even found old temples and carvings in Yeha and Aksum that show spirituality developed in Ethiopia on its own path. Other findings, like the Dead Sea Scrolls, show that there were early mystical groups who lived harmoniously, practiced enlightenment, and avoided conflict. Much like the Origins in Ethiopia's Gospel of Origins, these groups, called the Essenes, may have shared the same beliefs about unity and awareness. Whether people see this story as real history or as a mystical message, it still gives a strong message. It asks people to think deeply about what creation truly meant to convey. Was our beginning only a tale of error for humanity's flaws? Or was it to show humans how to thrive in harmony with one another and with cosmic creation? The Ethiopian Gospel of Origins may not be as popular as the narrative taught in the West, but its message feels timeless. If the story of Origins in Ethiopia challenges everything we thought we knew about history, then what makes this ancient uncolonized land so uniquely chosen to guard the world's oldest Bible? Let's take a closer look. Ethiopia, the uncolonized land. Ethiopia stands apart as one of the oldest and most extraordinary nations on earth. Its story stretches back through thousands of years, shaped by mystery, unshakable faith, and remarkable resilience. Unlike most African countries, Ethiopia was never colonized. That independence allowed it to preserve its culture, traditions, and ancient beliefs in ways few places ever could. Many Ethiopians believe their lineage reaches back to Ham, one of Noah's sons, a claim echoed in ancient Jewish records. Because of this, Ethiopia is often seen not just as a nation, but as a living bridge to the biblical world, and one of humanity's earliest civilizations. Faith has always been at the heart of Ethiopia's identity. Long before Christianity reached Europe, Ethiopia already knew and worshipped the Christian God. Historical records place Christianity in Ethiopia as early as the 4th century, and not as an imported belief but as a faith embraced naturally. In the 6th century AD, the traveler Cosmas Indicoplastus visited Ethiopia and described it as an established Christian nation. He also wrote that Ethiopian rulers welcomed Christians fleeing persecution elsewhere, offering them refuge when few others would. Some Ethiopian tribes have practiced this faith continuously for more than 3,000 years, making Ethiopia one of the oldest Christian nations in the world, older even than the Catholic Church itself. The Ethiopian Church also safeguards one of the oldest and most complete versions of the Bible ever written. While the King James Bible contains 66 books, the Ethiopian Bible includes 88. Among its additional texts are ancient writings like Enoch and Jubilees, books absent from most modern Bibles. These extra writings are part of what makes the Ethiopian Bible so unique. They were written in Ge'ez, an ancient language few people today can read or understand. As a result, much of the world remained unaware of these texts for centuries. The Ethiopian Bible exists in two forms: the broader canon with 81 books and the narrower canon with 72. Later, Emperor Haile Selassie declared the narrower canon the official version. Ethiopia's uninterrupted independence its ancient faith, and its sacred texts reveal a powerful truth. The roots of Christianity run deep into Africa. While many people look to Rome or Jerusalem when thinking about the Bible's history, Ethiopia quietly preserves one of the oldest and most complete biblical traditions known to humanity. What are your thoughts on the Ethiopian Bible and its hidden history? Let us know in the comments below. Thank you for watching. We hope you found this journey as fascinating as we did. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and click the next video on your screen to catch up on your favorite celebrity stories.